Okay, everything should be a go. Let me test out YouTube real quick. If you guys can hear me, how y'all doing? Movie 186 back again with another live stream. Hopefully this one shouldn't take too long. I don't really have any interest in really talking about it, but since it came up on this week's episode of Weapon Wheel, it was very heated debate, and so I figured I talk about it. Let me
And
hmm,
I, talk about it.
Okay. All right. So yeah, because there was a lot of dividing opinions about that, and so I decided, what, since I'm if you follow my channel here, you know I'm a huge Heat fan, and and obviously LeBron James, former Heat player, someone who I respect greatly, and I still do, but I did want to talk about this situation right here regarding LeBron James. Let me share this out real quick, and then I'll start the topic. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna tweet it out. 1 second. Sorry that. Okay. Okay. So question mark. All right. Okay, I'm good. Oops. Hold on a second. Okay. All right. I'm good to go. Like I said, how you guys doing? There's another live stream, and I guess we'll just get down to it. A few weeks ago, Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey made a tweeted something out regarding the whole situation with China and Hong Kong, and how the Hong Kong people are protesting, and he made a pro Hong Kong tweet. Now, for those of you who don't know, China is one of China is one of the is obviously is one of the NBA's how would I put this? I mean, China's literally like one of the is arguably the second biggest market for NBA basketball as far as consuming. They may arguably be the biggest, when it comes to pretty much overall revenue. I mean, we really don't know. I really don't know off the top of my head. But when it comes to the NBA, number one country is obviously the United States. Just below them is China. Like China is when it comes to basketball. China when it comes to like Chinese and all that stuff. Like basketball is a big deal in China. Um, I would argue it's the number one sport in China. I'm not 100% sure, but I just based on everything that's going on with this situation and the stuff that I've read about, it definitely does come off like China is that basketball is China's biggest sport. And you look at guys like obviously Kobe Bryant is a huge deal in China. Dwayne Wade with the Li Ning shoes, he's obviously a big deal in China. And like even guys like Stephon Marbury. Like Stephon Marbury had an entire, I think he's really regarded as one of the greatest players of all time in China. For his contributions in Chinese basketball. So yeah, so China in basketball is a big deal. So obviously China also has a history with their, it's a communist country. You know what I mean? They have their history with human rights violations and stuff like that. It's all stuff that's common knowledge, right? And Daryl Morey made a tweet that supported the Hong Kong protesters. Now, the problem with Daryl Morey's tweet, the problem with Daryl Morey's tweet isn't necessarily his his position. I think no one has a problem with his position. The problem with his tweet is that it's his is who it affected, and that affected the Houston Rockets. Because the Houston Rockets, obviously, they've had, the Houston Rockets historically, they've had, arguably the Chinese greatest basketball player in Yao Ming on their team for his entire career. Also, I think Houston and I think Yao Ming owns a team in China, and obviously those two are partners. I don't know if they're partners anymore, but the Houston Rockets, they have they're one of the more, I'd probably say, like, relevant franchises in China because of the whole Yao Ming connection. And you've seen some of their past uniforms. They've had Chinese lettering on their uniforms before. So Daryl Morey saying what he said has really impacted the Houston Rockets big time. And he hasn't gotten fired yet. I don't think I don't know if I don't follow him on Twitter, so I don't know if he's tweeted anything since. But he hasn't made any real public comments since. And I personally do feel like he's going to get fired. I'm not fired, but he's not going to. I don't think he's going to survive the year, right? So that's just my personal opinion. But anyway, let's backtrack a little bit, right? So he makes the comment, and then China. Now remember, this is preseason. There you have NBA teams in China. I know Houston was there, the Lakers were there, the Nets were there. They're in China right now. So China's upset about it. They pull all the sponsorships, they pull all the events. Daryl Morey literally cost the NBA lots and lots of money. You know what I mean? If this situation isn't resolved, it can have huge ramification when it comes to the salary cap. This is how big of a deal this is. This is how big of a deal this is for the NBA, and it's and for its players. Like, and obviously China was not happy about it. There's conflicting reports about who wanted Daryl Morey fired. Whether I think Adam Silver, who's the commissioner of the NBA, he said that that China wanted Daryl Morey fired. China said no. So now it's a clusterfuck. It's a real clusterfuck, right? Obviously, the NBA's biggest star right now is LeBron James, and LeBron James, who's known for his active for his good work in the community. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit woozy right now. I just woke up. Um, like LeBron James, he's spoken up on human rights. He's spoken up on lots of things in his career, right? And I'll probably say a lot of that stuff started when he was down here in Miami with the whole thing with Trayvon Martin, um, and also with the situation with Donald Sterling. He had a lot of opinions on that too. So he's a guy who's more than just an athlete, right? Like, and that's something that cannot be taken away from him. I know a lot of people don't like him, especially with this situation. But the one thing that you can't say about LeBron James that he hasn't been a positive influence in the African American community. You can't deny that. And he made a comment regarding Daryl Morey, saying that he was pretty much uneducated on the situation. Now, before I get to LeBron, let me just say this real quick, right? I understand why an NBA player like LeBron James or Kyrie Irving or whoever, all the NBA players over there in China, I can understand why they're upset and with the comment. I understand because ultimately they're the ones that have to answer to Daryl Morey's comments, not Daryl Morey. You know what I mean? When they're out there, and listen, obviously you're in a communist country, regardless of how safe you may be with the NBA, with NBA security, and obviously all the other stuff. And I know that I was bantered about it on the weapon wheel. Obviously, even if you have all the security in the world, this and that, you're still in a communist country. And I'm sorry, but and I'm not gonna sit there and act like I'm completely safe in a communist country, right? So you're in a co- you're in a you're not in your native land. right? And you're answering questions about a comment made by a random dude. And a lot of these players, They don't even work for Daryl Morey. They don't work with Daryl Morey, but yet they have to answer to him. I understand the frustration. I really do. I do understand the frustration. I can understand why someone like LeBron James would be annoyed by it. I can understand if someone like, if people like, Russell Westbrook, James Harden are upset about that. I can understand that. And those two players do play for the Houston Rockets, right? The FYI. I can understand the frustration. And I don't believe that anybody, including I don't believe anybody can hold LeBron James to the standard that he has to be all in on every topic, right? Like I don't believe that anybody should. That I don't believe that no one person. I don't care how dedicated you are to a cause. You can't heal the world all by yourself, and you can't heal all the world's problems. You can't. You're just one guy, right? And I do understand that. I do agree with that. The only issue I have with LeBron James' comments about Daryl Morey is the notion that he said that Daryl Morey was uneducated about the topic. You have no right, and I'm talking to LeBron James. I'm talking about LeBron James here. LeBron James has no right to claim anybody to be uneducated about a topic. He has no right. I can understand if you're upset that he has to that he has to answer for Daryl Morey. I get that. But when you sit there throwing him under the bus about how he doesn't know he's misinformed about the situation and this and that. You're literally all you're doing is pretty much protecting your money. And look, I get it. I understand that you're protecting your money. I get it. Like I know a lot of people are like, oh, he's a hypocrite because he can criticize um Donald Trump, but he can't criticize the Chinese government. Well, he doesn't make money off of Donald Trump. Like I mean, I'm just being real with you. He don't make money off of Donald Trump. He makes money off of the Nike deal, which obviously we all know Nike and China are simpatico. We all know they're together. Obviously, he makes money off of the team, off of the Lakers, and other endorsement that he has. Right. Obviously, he has a new movie coming out. He has a movie. Obviously he has Space Jam coming out. I'm sure he wants to have people in China watch it. Right. He has all these other projects that he's doing. Oh, come on the fuck on. All right. Sorry, something a pop up. Okay, hold on. Can you guys still hear me? Okay, okay. You guys can still hear me. Cause he has tons of business. He has tons. I'm sure he does business in China. So yeah, does he have to have the same? He doesn't have to hold. To me, I don't think he has to hold the same energy when it comes to who he's talking about. Like again, he doesn't have to hold the same energy in that regard. But when you tweet out the stuff that you tweet out, the Martin Luther King tweets, and when you are telling somebody else who may have the same passion for the situation going on in Hong Kong that you do about your ailments, that your feelings, but yet you sit there and you pretty much lambaste the guy for having an opinion. I mean, to me, that's wrong. That's 100% wrong, and they definitely and they showed a meme. I know Black Bomb came up with a meme. Not he didn't make the meme, but he showed the meme. I saw the meme on Twitter too about the whole Laura Ingram thing, and then some Chinese president saying LeBron to shut up and dribble. That's 100%. That's 100% true. When you had those comments, you're literally you're literally telling Daryl Morey to shut up and dribble. You're the equivalent. That's 100% true. And I know Blackball made that point, and that's 100% true. He pretty much was telling Daryl Morey what Laura Ingram told LeBron James to shut up and dribble. That's 100% what he did. And again, like I said, he doesn't have to hold the same energy towards the Chinese government that he does with Donald Trump. He doesn't have to do that. But the problem is that when you start criticizing others for criticizing China for their misailment, with their treatment of people, then obviously people are going to come to conclusion, and rightfully so, that you're only doing this to save money. You're only doing this for your own personal interest. And again, I'll repeat this. I understand if he's upset about having to answer to Daryl Morey. I would be upset too. I would be upset too, where you have to answer to Daryl Morey in a land that's not your own. I get it, but you can't just go around throwing other people under the bus. And that's really the main issue I had with LeBron James' comments. That's the problem that I had with it. And and going to the and obviously this is not the only thing that China has stuck their nose in. You look at what happened with Activision Blizzard and the whole Hearthstone controversy with the a Hong Kong based player pretty much getting I guess he got kicked out of the tournament and lost his money, lost his earnings in the tournament. I don't know much about the game. I don't give a shit about Activision Blizzard, and I don't really care about this game. But obviously he got screwed over, and I have a feeling. Obviously, China. I'm sure Hearthstone is a big deal in China, and also am sure that this situation with the NBA and China does have something to do with I think probably influenced this decision. I don't know which one came first, but I'm sure that this decision wasn't done out of left field. You know what I mean? And I know Activision came out with a statement, and I don't know, there's stuff going on with maybe people protesting and stuff like that. I don't Like I said, I don't really know much about the whole Hearthstone stuff, but the whole thing is pretty much this is what happened when you bite the hand that feeds, and when you're feeding from a communist country. This is the other side of it. This is the other side of it, and it sucks for someone like Daryl Morey, because he's probably going. I do think he's going to lose his job over this. He not like I commend Adam Silver and NBA for not firing him, but I do think that ultimately he's going. I think he is ultimately going to get pressured to leave, because if the whole thing with the salary cap is legit, and they lose, even if they lose like 20% of the salary cap next year, that's a big deal. That's a big fucking deal for the NBA. And you can look at the NBA like, well, why are you accepting money from China? And that's true. That's 100% true. But this ain't the NBA is not the only company that profits off of doing business with foreign countries, especially foreign countries that are a bit shady. Saudi Arabia, anybody? You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. And obviously same thing goes with Hearthstone, with Activision Blizzard and has in the Hearthstone situation. It sucks what happened to the Hong Kong player. It does suck, and and then I think they're trying to make it right by him. I think they're giving him back his money, and I think the suspension was reduced. But regardless, he should never have gone through that in the first place. And all this because a company wants to take money from a communist country. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. It sucks, but it is what it is. Like I said, based on everything, I'll leave with this. Like I said, I still have mad respect for LeBron James for the things he's done in his career, about the humanitarian work that he's done. But he's a colossal hypocrite. He comes off as a colossal hypocrite on on this topic, and a lot of people who don't like him will use it as ammo. I'm sorry. Just getting notifications. I'm sorry. Um, and he looks like he comes off as a colossal hypocrite in this, and there's no um there's no beating around the bush with that comment. It's 100% true. You know what I mean? I don't care what China's history is. We all know that China has a very shady history when it comes to human rights violations. Every country does. I'm sure every country has a bit of shadiness in them. That's obvious, even including this country. But ultimately, if you stand for something, you guys stand for something. If you wanted to protect your money and stuff like that, all you had to do was say no comment. You know what I mean? And you all you had to do would be like, I don't really, either you could say you don't know much about the situation, or you could say I can't really comment on what he said or what he tweeted, or anything. He could have said, and trust me, people are still going to attack him. People are still going to go after him because of his past active oh god, Leah, activist work. You know what I mean? People are still going to go after him. They're going to be like, oh well, you don't have the same energy with that. People are going to attack him no matter what. But my problem with what he said is that he threw Daryl Morey under the bus when it comes to saying that he's misinformed about a situation. To me, that's the wrong way to go. It's bullshit, and again, it is what it is, and there's really is nothing. There really is nothing. There's not really nothing else that you can say to convince me otherwise that he was in the right for throwing Daryl Morey under the bus. You know what I mean? He had he I There's a difference between being upset about what he said about when he said it and the consequences that he deals with, and pretty much saying that he's misinformed about the topic. They're two different things. And he chose the wrong and LeBron James chose the wrong thing to get upset about because he wants to protect his money. That's how it comes off, and pretty much that's how it looks. We all know this. Anyways, that's really all I gotta say about this. Thank you guys for watching. I'll share this out some more. You can leave a comment below. Anyway, this is Who We 186. I am out. Peace.